Are Tamil people disproportionately stopped?
No, in fact, you know what...
You're sure?
Yeah, 60% of the Tamil population live in the south, in the single area, not in the north. And these people are quite happily live harmoniously.
Okay. Can I just say, we're going to take a short break now, but we'll be back in a few moments for more of the topical debate. Hello and welcome back to Forum. I'm Jeremy Corbyn. Today we're discussing Sri Lanka. And a reminder to our viewers in the UK, if you'd like to join our studio audience here in London, you can see our contact details at the bottom of your screen now. Now we're in a discussion about Sri Lanka. Audience question, Laura Jane.
Yeah, my question to the panel is, do you think that some Tamil tactics, such as the use of terrorism and child soldiers, help or hinder their cause?
Very serious allegations made there. Suren.
Nobody is in favour of anybody being killed, be it Sinhalese, Tamils, Christians, Muslims, Sinhalese, Buddhists, whoever. Nobody supports anybody being killed. Having said that, a state, a government, is signed up to United Nations charters and human rights, Geneva Conventions and stuff like that. When a state commits terrorism, like when the Sri Lankan government, I would like to ask Lord.
You've been asked a very specific question about the tactics used by the LTTE.
Sure.
Can you deal with that, please?
Yeah, I'm going to come to that. Just very quickly. Why would an organisation like United Nations evict Sri Lanka from the Human Rights Council? A government of Sri Lanka evicted from the Human Rights Council because there are breaches of United Nations charters and Geneva Conventions. Like I said, Jeremy, nobody will ever support anybody being killed. Nobody wants to be killed. Nobody wants to kill anybody. But if you push people and if you discriminate people, think about a domestic animal. If you push that animal to a corner...
Suren, there's a specific question there. I'm going to put the question about human rights abuses to the Sri Lankan government representative. There's a specific question about the LTTE from the audience there. Can you deal with it?
Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't support, or nobody supports, anybody being killed, be it Sinhalese, Tamils, Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, whatever. Nobody supports that.
What about the allegation of child soldiers?
Well, there is no credible systems to prosecute people. In Sri Lanka, when the LTTE killed a few soldiers within Bani when there was military aggression, they found the identity cards of army soldiers who had age of 17 years old. Is that child soldiers?
No.
Child soldiers, no. Well, listen, there are photographs, and there are... well, there you go.
I know we do, but under the UN, under 18 is a child.
So there are no credible systems to find child soldiers, who is a child soldier and who has been forced to be a soldier. In the United Nations Children's Organization, UNICEF, says the LTTE has dramatically reduced the number of child soldiers. It's only 29.
Well, there aren't many.
You may laugh. You may laugh.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on record.
I do. Because there aren't many left.
Let's hear him finish the answer, then I'll come to you, Michael.
Very long answer.
It's on record that in 2004 there were 1,287 child soldiers by LTTE. In 2008, there are only 29 child soldiers. I'm not saying it. It's UNICEF saying it.
All right. But do you accept those UNICEF figures?
Yes, I do.
Right. Michael.
Hitler was
Michael, hang on. I was going to ask you a question as well.
Oh, right.
In answer to the lady who asked the question about child soldiers, you can make your point. What about the human rights record of the Sri Lankan government and criticisms made of it by the United Nations?
Well, let's answer the child soldiers first. Hitler was the last person, and I was a small boy in those days, to use young men, mainly, to arm and use the air-cat guns. The Tamil Tigers are the only freedom movement, so-called, in the world to use child soldiers. I'm talking about boys of 9, 10, 11,
You've seen them?
etc.
Have you seen them?
Of course I haven't seen them,
Yeah.
nor have you either.
No.
So you keep
Right.
quiet. I'm answering this question, not you. Secondly, the Tamil Tigers invented the suicide bomber. They've trained Al-Qaeda in suicide bombing.
Kamikaze?
And they've taken out...
Haven't you heard of kamikaze? When the
Stuart,
British...
let's let Michael finish his answer.
Excuse me. They invented a suicide bomber walking up to a person and blowing them up.
What did
President
you
Nehru,
let Michael finish his answer.
Premadasa, and many others. Now, the other question you asked, a breach of UN human rights. There may have been some. Yes.
May have been some.
But there are far, far more at the other side of it. Even the UK. Now, come on. Even the UK has been brought up before the UN on human rights. And if you have a war situation, you may well get some abuse. But that
Michael,
is
are
taken
you saying then
seriously.
there's abuses on both sides?
I'm saying there's far more abuse on the Tamil Tiger side, but there may well have been some abuse. But I tell you, Jeremy, I asked the defence correspondent of the island whether or not, and he's independent, I don't know, nothing to do with the government,
Independent.
whether or not there was evidence of fixing the situation where soldiers have undertaken abuse of human rights. He said there was no evidence now that that was happening and had not been
All right,
happening
can we take
for
an
the
audience
last couple of
question?
years.
The lady on the second row.
Yeah. As a person who has been living in Sri Lanka and working as a consultant working with children, I know for a fact we have had parents who have left the northern areas with their children because they were scared because the children were being abducted on their way to school, and UNICEF made so many appeals, and I for a fact know that these children who were captured, who came captured by the LTT or the Tamil Tigers were then eventually, when they came into the southern districts, they were rehabilitated, and that was a fact. And these parents did tell us why they ran away from the northern areas to get their children away from the Tamil terrorists.
A question from the audience on the second row there.
My question for the panel is, do you think an all-inclusive government could solve some of the problems between the two ethnic tribes?
Douglas, you are representing the Sri Lankan government's point of view here today, and your government has made many statements which are victorious, shall we say, at the present time. Do you envisage a time when there's an inclusive government in Sri Lanka?
Actually, already there's an inclusive government. There are Tamil cabinet ministers in the government, in the cabinet. You know, right from independence 1948, we have had Tamil cabinet ministers. Maybe even in England, we don't have. When can we get an opportunity for an Asian foreign minister or African prime minister? But in our country, we have had Tamils leading the Chief Justice, the Attorney General. You go on. You know, when Tamils say there's discrimination in Sri Lanka, I would say that the Tamils are the most privileged minority in the world. And I will...
The question that was put to you a few minutes ago
I will just
was...
define-
Okay, the question that was put to you a few minutes ago was about the military action that's been taken. Carpet bombing is one of the allegations been made. Has that happened?
No, that has not happened. There has not been any carpet bombing at all. I mean, these are allegations like saying, oh, there's ethnic cleansing, there's genocide. They've never been in Sri Lanka. I mean, the killing has been done by the LTTE, not by the Sri Lankan government.
The government's been bombing
Robert?
people.
Where is this carpet bombing? Sorry?
There's been huge numbers of people killed in the Vani. It's not, you know, you can look at the quotes from Amnesty International, from the Red Cross, from all these organisations are saying the Sri Lankan
not
government...
in the Vani, for starters.
Sorry?
Amnesty are not in the Vani.
Well, because
the Red Cross are in the Vani, and the Red Cross has specifically said they do not find any evidence of any bombing by aircraft in the Vani.
Well, that's not...
Surin.
So, I'm sorry. I mean, we're only talking about a very small area. We're talking about an area about the size of 2 London boroughs. Now, I'm an ex-RAF pilot, right? And I don't think you guys have ever flown anything.
I'm not a pilot. I've been in airplanes, but I'm not a pilot.
Right. Now, you can have specific laser-targeted bombs, but they're not being used. And why are they not being used? Because the LTTE have put a human shield round their artillery.
But
And
thousands of
that
civilians
is
have
why...
been killed. Thousands of civilians...
No, they have not been thousands killed. That's propaganda.